the model Marine, right? Whether it was physically, mentally, he would, for as far as lieutenants go, he was the model lieutenant.
Everybody emulated Mike. Even the people that could run faster than Mike emulated Mike and tried to be like Mike.
If you want to make a tribute to veterans that have been involved with FIU, I can't think of anybody more to embody that spirit than Mike Felsberg.
I would say, I would remember that Mike's freshman year, when he didn't make wasn't one of our top runners at the end of the season. I remember talking to him and that he wasn't discouraged at all. And Mike, as a result of who he was and the experiences that he had already had in life, said, don't worry about it, I'll be back and I'll be better than ever. And part of me said, well, you're not really one of these elite Division I runners. A lot of this is lip service, but lo and behold, by the time Mike graduated, Mike was all conference in the 5,000 meter run.
When the news arrived that Mike was killed in action, it was all we were devastated, and it was everybody. It was all of our students from every walk of life, every sport.
Of all the athletes that I've coached over all of the years, and I've been at this now at different levels for 35 years, Mike still strikes out as the one shining example of what a leader is to his teammates. I'm a better coach because I got to work with Mike Felsberg.
The first time I met Mike, I walk into one of our basketball games, and there's this one kid who is screaming at the refs and cheering on our team, and he was one of the few in that area that was doing it. And I said, you know what, I've got to meet this young man. So I got to know Michael, and one of the reasons it was easy to always keep in contact with Mike is because every time there was an athletic event, it didn't matter what it was, he was there supporting his classmates. And that's why he really had the respect of everyone.
Michael was a mentor to so many student athletes. He was an individual who excelled at everything that he did. He was a great student. He was a great athlete. He was a runner. He did the steeplechase, the long run. Michael was an unbelievable fan. At every FIU sporting event, he was there cheering on his fellow student athletes, supporting them, and then when he felt that the refs or the umps gave him a bad deal, he would be yelling at them. Of course, everything was, above board, but Michael was just one of those all-American kids.
Well, Michael in itself, I guess being an only child, you sort of raise him to be independent. Michael traveled for many summers in my parents' motorhome all over the country. We would fly him, as soon as school was out to wherever they were and getting back. So he was around other older people. So I guess he just got used to working not only with his peers in that social group, but being around retirees traveling. We just raised what we thought was going to be a independent thinking young man. And he decided to join the Marine Corps when he was a junior in high school.
He had a lot of experience going into that job in the Marine Corps before, and that kind of set him apart from where he was. It set him above his peer group. So I think a lot of stuff that he did early on in his life definitely set him up for success. It kind of made him a cut above the rest. But just because he was above the rest didn't mean that he was distant or not able to relate. He was a type of leader that would finish first, but then go back and spend the extra time to help people out. So he was always bringing people up to his level, trying to improve the overall team, which is something that miss greatly, miss dearly. the type of Marine he was a tough, disciplined Marine. Michael was in charge of weapons platoon, approximately about 50 Marines that served as our vehicle quick response force, moving about the battle space during our deployment to Iraq. The quick reaction force served as pretty much the fireman, if you will. Whenever there was a unit in trouble, we called back to our quick reaction force. We called back to Michael's platoon, and then he got in the vehicles, came out, and helped support whoever needed it when they needed it.
His comment when he got out of high school was, "Well, I won't have to study anymore." I said, "Oh, yeah?" And here he is with these military manuals, memorizing all this information, all the Marine Corps history, all the, weaponry and all this other stuff.
No, I mean, whether it was by virtue of his age, the fact that he was prior enlisted, or what, I'm not sure, but he was just more of that kind of big brother presence in the group. He was always serious, even keeled, kind, considerate. He provided that that stability within the younger group of guys, within the lieutenant group.
I think the impact he had is a lot larger. We had a memorial hike that we did this past summer. You're talking 13 years later. We're grabbing a sign that we made back in the day, and we carried it up to the top of the hill, and we posted it up for it to stay up there with other monuments, to kind of till the end of time.
In recognition of Mr. Felsberg, that I understand that he got out of the service and went to school and volunteered to go back in, which is particularly patriotic, to have risked his life for what he believed in at that point in time, having already served his country.
I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for all of the men and women who have protected our freedom and who've served. My family and I have had an affiliation with the school since its founding, and everything it's done for the community, and we're just proud to be able to help in this way.
This Veterans Plaza will not just commemorate Michael and his sacrifice, but it will also send a very strong message to Gold Star families who've lost loved ones in the cause of defending our country, how much we appreciate that, how grateful we are, how much we regret it, but how important it is to celebrate.
He gave himself the same way he gave for his country, he gave to our university. And if there's anything that I want people to know, is that kid did everything with his heart. And he cared about people, he cared about less fortunate, he cared about his classmates, and he obviously cared about our country. And I don't know in my 35 years of athletics if I've ever come across a more special young man than Michael Felsberg.